and thanks for joining us for today's webinar on what's new in Dynamics CRM 2015. I'm Dee Bowers, and I'll be your moderator. So before we jump in, I'd like to briefly go over how to use the GoToWebinar pane. On the right side of your monitor, you should see an orange arrow. If you click that arrow, you'll be able to toggle the webinar pane between the open and closed position. You should also see a small chat window. Feel free to enter your questions in throughout the presentation, and we'll answer those at the end of our webinar during our Q&A session as time allows. Now is a good time to also double check your audio settings. So if you called in on your telephone, please make sure you have the Use Telephone option selected. Alternatively, if you're using your computer, make sure you have the Mic and Speakers option selected. And just a quick note that this webinar is being recorded, and we'll be sending out a link with the recording to all participants within 48 hours. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and introduce today's presenters. First, we have Scott Mangelson, who's the Managing Partner of Armanino CRM Practice. Scott brings over 20 years of sales and marketing leadership experience. We also have Joe Alexander, who's our Senior Sales Engineer for Armanino CRM Practice. Joe brings over 9 years of experience with Dynamics CRM and has worked in both sales and implementation roles. So it's great to have you guys both here. And with that, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Scott Mangelson.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Scott Mangelson. I so appreciate you joining us. We're very excited to introduce you to the newest and latest capabilities of Dynamics CRM 2015. What we plan to do today is kind of do two things. One is to orient you to the strategic direction of how and where the application's going. And then we picked out 7 or so of our top favorite, coolest new capabilities for this release to be able to really share with you how those capabilities are going to be deployed and leveraged within your organization. So with that, in terms of CRM 2015, we're excited to announce that CRM 2015 launched late last year. It's being rolled out in both CRM Online first and soon to come in CRM On-Premise. As you all know, there are 3 major capability or functional areas within CRM, and the first one is in marketing. And the idea here and the strategic alignment around marketing is really to help CMOs and marketing executives demonstrate the results of their marketing activities. One of the challenging things in marketing across the board that we get feedback on is that all the marketing activities can be planned and executed flawlessly, but the question always comes back, you know, what have you done for me in terms of the amount of money that we've spent, and can we really draw a direct correlation between marketing and closed business results? And so this release has really got a direction around helping marketing organizations really demonstrate that value from an analytics standpoint and from a productivity standpoint. One of the key things is the continued integration of Dynamics marketing. It's called MDM, or Microsoft Dynamics Marketing. And this release really sees a much greater enhancement to the marketing automation capabilities and the integration back into the core Microsoft Dynamics CRM product. The second strategic direction is around sales productivity. And this is really how does CRM give back into the sales organization. There's a lot of things that we'll show you today around improvements in managing sales productivity from a process management standpoint, the ability to gain greater insights from assessment and understanding your prospects, and enhancements to mobility. And then finally, Microsoft is continuing to make very significant announcements around customer service. Last year we announced the integration and acquisition of a product called Parature, which is a multi-channel customer service platform for the web. And that integration and that capability continues to be improved, as well as the ability to support a service level agreement management and monitoring, and we'll show you how that works today. So kind of rounding out where that capability is really trying to drive. So kind of key things to keep been in top of mind for sales leaders is that they're telling us that their need to zero in on the highest probability closed prospects so that they can be more productive with their sales teams, to be able to win and sell faster, and then ultimately to sell more. Joe will show you some new features and capabilities that are really excited around the product for being able to do cross-sell and upsell and substitutions, which are now standard features of Dynamics CRM. From a marketing standpoint, I think that many of us who are marketers are seeing that our customers are doing more and more to investigate our companies, our services, and our products well before we ever know that they're interested in buying. And so being able to use CRM to build brands and to position yourself uniquely in the marketplace is a key initiative for marketers and this release of Dynamics CRM. But then to take that down to the individual, to engage one-on-one and to interact with customers how and where they want to be engaged with, whether that's through email or web or social media. We'll show you some really cool things around how Dynamics CRM is extending the capability for marketers to do that. And then, as I mentioned, the ability to analyze and assess and ultimately demonstrate the impact of those marketing programs. And then finally, around customer service. Customer service is really across the board, starting from the initial contact that a customer may have with your organization, all the way through empowering agents with more tools to support more inquiries faster and at a lower cost, but also to allow customers to do a lot of self-service. Joe and I were not long ago, just recently talking to a VP of customer service who told us that their organization is getting about 1 million inquiries a year, and we started talking about the speed of improving those inquiries, and his comment was, Scott, that's really great, but we don't want to manage 1 million inquiries a year. I want to figure out how Dynamics CRM is going to help me manage 500,000 inquiries a year, and half of those customers are self-serving and getting resolution without ever having to call my support organization. So being able to empower agents from that standpoint and doing more with fewer people is exactly the strategic direction that Dynamics CRM is going. So with that, I'm going to quickly run through to give you some framework on what you're going to see, and then I'm going to turn it over to Joe to start to actually show you this capability in the software. But the first one, and one that we've all been waiting for a very long time, is something called global search. It's the ability to search globally across any entity within CRM with one search box. The ability to see sales hierarchies graphically. So this is a visual view of a sales of your customer's organization. So you can see the CEO, and in a org chart vision, being able to see how those organizations are organized. We'll do some work and show you some things around product families and this ability to upsell and cross-sell. In the reporting capability now, we have the ability to do roll-up fields and calculated fields. So you'll be able to use actual functions within the advanced finds and the reports that are prepared to be able to see those calculated fields. Last release, Microsoft came out with a process-driven user interface. And this has been significantly enhanced now to work much more like the way that companies work, in that as things change, your business process needs to change based on the situation. And so branching for business process flows is an ability to branch and segment your business processes depending on the situation in which you're engaged in. And this branching works for leads and contact, or for leads, opportunities, cases throughout the system. We'll show you the new enhancement around how to manage service level agreements. There's actually the ability to really monitor in real time the amount of time it's taking to respond. And then Joe will finish by showing some of the new enhancements in the mobility platform, which are really exciting because this is really an area that most every one of the organizations that we're talking to are making significant investments in, and so building that out is exciting. Joe's always one to surprise us, and so he wanted to throw in a couple of other bonus capabilities. So he'll, at the very end, highlight some of the new capabilities that are coming around Microsoft Dynamics Marketing and the social listening platform for measuring and managing the social conversation that is happening around your company and your products. So the last thing I wanted to mention is the value proposition. As we're out in the marketplace, we find that there are now really two mainstream CRM systems in the marketplace. It's really come down to Salesforce, who's been in the cloud space a long time, and Microsoft Dynamics CRM. And Microsoft just earlier this year announced a very exciting promotion. They're referring to it as the Sales Productivity Promotion. And it's really a combination of Microsoft's Office cloud products called Office 365, the business analytics engine and visualizer called Power BI, and Microsoft Dynamics CRM. So traditionally, Microsoft Dynamics CRM was $65, but now you can get all three of those products, Office 365, Power BI, and Microsoft CRM, all for $65 per month. And then when you compare that to what's included in Microsoft's $65 CRM offering, it includes things like a collaboration engine. Salesforce calls it Chatter. Microsoft refers to it as Yammer. We also have included in last year's announcement the ability of something called Insights, which is the ability to gather data and information from the web and aggregate that right into your CRM system so you don't have to go out and do that research yourself on websites and LinkedIn, etc. And that's also included as part of the customer intelligence. So when you add up all the capability, when you look at the two main competitors in the marketplace, Salesforce versus Microsoft, you can see on this slide that the total cost of ownership is very, very significant in the favor of Microsoft Dynamics. So we are really thrilled with the investments Microsoft is making and the value that they're delivering when you look at alternatives to consider in the marketplace. So happy to answer some questions about that at the end. I'll be monitoring any questions that come in over your chat windows, and then when we get to the end, I'll be happy to answer some of those questions with Joe's help and wrap it up when he gets done. So with that, Joe, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you start to show us all the exciting things that are coming out in Microsoft Dynamics CRM 2015.
Great. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate the time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. And just a quick sound check. Scott, if you could let me know if you hear me all right, and two, if you see my screen of Dynamics CRM.
Affirmative in both situations.
Great. Perfect. So hey, everyone, again, thank you for your time. My name is Joe Alexander. I am a CRM sales engineer with Armanino here. I've been working in the Dynamics world, specifically around CRM, since the inception of this product. So I've been fortunate enough to see this product from its 1.0 days and grow to the very powerful application it is now. What we wanted to do today was spend a few minutes with you guys essentially introducing you to 2015. As with any new major release, there are a lot of efficiencies, a lot of changes, a lot of essentially functional items that have been added to an application, obviously as part of that release, but we wanted to take an opportunity just to pick out a few of those today and kind of walk you through them and some of the things that we think are going to be efficiencies for your organizations and really some significant changes from previous versions of the applications. One thing I did want to mention as we get into this, as you're looking at my initial dashboard screen, is although we're going to talk about new things and things that have changed in the application, there's a lot of things that remain the same. The user interface, for those of you who are familiar or who were familiar with 2013, the user interface has remained the same. the functionality and capability around dashboarding and reporting, the interface it has with Outlook, a lot of those things have remained the same, and you're going to continue to be able to leverage those consistencies in the application there. But a few of them, like Scott said, I think he said 7 or so in parentheses that we want to capture, we wanted to touch on with you today. So the first one I want to quickly talk about is just the concept of global search. As Scott said in his PowerPoint, this is something that has been a long time coming, to be completely frank. It's an awesome new capability, allowing us to search for information across multiple entities within an organization. So for example here, as I'm looking at my dashboard, you'll see that I have a search box up here in the upper right-hand corner. This allows me, wherever I'm at within the application, to simply search on a name, a topic, a product, a contact, whatever it may be, to be able to give me essentially a results of everywhere that name appears in my organization. So I don't no longer have to search for accounts under accounts and contacts under contacts. I can do that global search there, and you can see here it's given me 4 different opportunities that it's found the word Armanino in. It's given me a lead, it's found Armanino in, it's given me contacts, and it's given me account. So it's a great tool to be able to see very quickly if I receive a business card from somebody, hey, does this guy already exist somewhere within our database here? Does this company already exist somewhere within the database? In addition, we can do some added filtering on that. We can take things and say, hey, you know what, I only want to care really specifically about opportunities and only view opportunity information. And I can start to define exactly the entities I want to start to capture within the application. So you see I've got right now a number of them anywhere from accounts down to cases. But if I want to add things like campaigns or marketing lists or other entities I create, custom or out of the box, this global search capability really gives me the ability to do that. I'll come back out here to none, and I can see what I'm looking for very easily. From here, it's very easy to hyperlink into any one of these records. So I'm going to kind of take you through a flow of a day, if you will, and point these specific things out as we go. So you'll see here that I can get to the Armanino account through that global search capability with just 2 simple clicks. Simply typing in Armanino and then clicking on that particular account box that I'm looking for within those records. As I come to my Armanino account here, you're going to see that as with any CRM application, I'm capturing a lot of data. I'm capturing content information. I'm capturing opportunity information. I'm catching activity information here in the center of my pane. But one of the things that's new to the application this year is, as Scott mentioned before, the concept of social insights. This is a huge game changer, we think, for CRM. What Social Insights is doing is it's essentially consolidating hundreds of different data feeds, data points, various blogs, news posts, information from sources like LinkedIn, Facebook, DMB, a lot of different potential information that's out there that as a sales rep in the past, if I were looking at this Armanino account and I wanted to find more information about the organization, I had to leave CRM. I had to go to 1, 2, or 3 other different data sources to find things such as well, what's their revenue? How many employees do they have? Are they a private or a public company? Where are they located? But you'll see here in our Social Insights pane, it's consolidating all that information right here. So I can look at an overview. I can maybe click into the people to see who's tied to the Armanino organization here and scroll through those folks. You can see here Larry Betts, who's one of our managing directors or our CRM group. But we can start to see all that information, and more specifically, when we find somebody who we think is going to be pertinent to us, it gives us the ability to sync that information directly into our CRM database. So I don't have to rekey any information. I don't have to accidentally put his wrong phone number in because my fingers typed the wrong numbers. I have the ability to take this data and synchronize it directly into my CRM environment here. It also gives you other neat things that I like as someone in the sales world. I love to be able to see, and I want to see buzz about the organization. I want to see, recent news posts that have gone out, information about that, but really giving us the ability to consolidate information that's socially available out on the web, all within the comfort of our CRM environment. And as you'll hear in any of the demonstrations that we do, this really becomes a tool that starts to give back to people in the organization and make CRM really more content delivery for sales reps and the like, rather than an application that they simply have to go in and fill in information because that's how they're being tracked. It's a great tool, and it's part of your license subscription with CRM. The third thing we want to look at is I wanted to talk a little bit about visual hierarchy as well, another component that's been added. So if any of you are like me, you're not real good at lists. I can see a list of accounts on a page, and I don't know who's connected to who. I'm much more of a visual person. Well, now with visual hierarchy, I have the ability to go ahead and select the visual and view that hierarchy in more of a graphical representation. So if I want to get an understanding of, okay, here's my account Armanino, what kind of relationships do I have set up within the CRM database here, I can start to see the different parent-child relationships that are set up. So if you have an organization with multiple different roll-ups to that organization, I can very quickly through a hierarchy here see who Armanino is, and in this case, any open revenue and perhaps open opportunities I have for them, as well as the organizations that are beneath them, Alpine Ski House, Contoso, and Fabricam. So it gives me a visual representation of the parent-child relationship between Armanino and other accounts within the application here. And then I can choose to hyperlink to any of these. I can click directly on here to go to Alpine Ski House. If I want to go directly to Paul Cannon's record, I can hyperlink to it. But it gives me a visual understanding and the ability to look at something in more of a tiered or a ladder structure, very easily understand where we're at with each one of these organizations. There will be some future releases of that are on the roadmap that will tie to contact hierarchy, being able to see a VP of sales at an organization and everybody that rolls up into them. We'll also be able to have the ability to drag and drop into a grid like that various types of relationships. So if Sean has moved from Contoso to one of the parent accounts, I'd simply be able to drag his name up into a different account, and it creates those relationships for us. So those things are on the horizon right now. Those things are on the horizon, but right now that visual hierarchy gives us a much better understanding of what's going on at that particular account. The next item we wanted to talk about was another great one that's new with the application around calculated and rollup fields. So again, I'm back at my account for Armanino here, and specifically, I can get an idea very quickly from here, looking at, hey, I got a couple, I got an open opportunity here, maybe I've got a one opportunity here, but I want to start to roll up information. And so you'll notice beneath the list of my recent opportunities here that I have a couple of fields that are locked with a key and have a calculator next to them. Essentially what those are telling me are these are rolled up fields that are calculating data from other entities in the application. So this gives me an idea. Our top two ones are saying, hey, for all open revenue that is related to any account tied to Armanino, I'd like to get a roll-up number there, 91,000. I also want to get an idea of how many open deals that are tied to every single account that is tied to Armanino. Right here, I can say I've got 4 of those different deals. And then I've got another one here that's tied to a specific organization. So if I want to look at an opportunity roll-up just for our organization, I can see that here. But these are all calculated fields that I can't make changes to while on this form. They're simply pulling data from, in this particular scenario, from opportunities that I'm managing in the system or someone else is managing in the system. In the past, these used to be pretty complex to create. We'd have to have somebody who could write a little bit of JavaScript or be able to do a little more custom coding than what most CRM admins would be comfortable with doing. But that's really changed now. As you work through the configuration here, I want to kind of show you a field a page real quickly that will kind of demonstrate that. And what it basically does is this is how I set up the rollup field. I don't have to know what an if-then statement is. I don't have to know how to write any type of code. I simply have to start defining within essentially a drag and drop in a pick list of what I want. And so from this case, I'm basically telling the application, hey, from a source entity, I want to look for accounts, and I want to find everybody who is tied to that particular account. Then what I'm doing is I want to look for all related entities, in this particular case, opportunities, that are open. And once I find those opportunities that are open for any account tied to Armanino, I want it to sum up the estimated revenue. So it becomes all drag and drop pick list based, again, non-code configuration to be able to create these very powerful roll-up and calculated fields in the application. As I move forward into some additional functionality, the next one I want to kind of touch on was what Scott mentioned around branching or business process flows here. Okay, I'm going to go from Armanino into a particular sales opportunity that I'm working on with Armanino. It's for the Armanino product line here. And you'll notice as I bring up this opportunity, across the top of my screen, I have the concept of a business process. How many steps are included in this particular sales process. In this case, we've got qualify, develop, propose, and close. Now, you obviously will have or could have different sales stages with different steps you're trying to capture as an organization. And one of the things we found, although these processes were very powerful in the last version of CRM, one of the things we found is that most organizations weren't linear. They would get to a certain point in the process and receive a data set or some sort of data that will completely shoot them down a new path of what they need to capture from a sales perspective or from a service perspective. Okay? And so what Microsoft did is they provided the concept of branching business process flows. And what I mean by branching, let's go ahead and take a scenario where I'm qualifying this particular opportunity based off of different pieces of information. And I can tie in what their purchase process is. Maybe I want to capture a summary here, and one of the things I'm actually tying to this was an estimated budget. Now in my scenario, I handle different value customers based off of what their estimated budget is. Anything $25,000 and above, I consider a high value opportunity. Anything below $25,000, I consider just a standard opportunity. Okay? So what I'm able to do here is I'm able to simply set my estimated budget here and make the modification from 15 grand to 25 grand. Now when I tab out of this, I want you to look just to the right of where I'm at. And what you're going to see is you're going to see a change. Now you're going to see a new stage that's been added. So instead of having our 4 stages before, I now have a new stage that's titled High Value Opportunity. So now as part of this, I've decided as a sales organization that, hey, if it's over 25 grand, I need to know these 3 things. I have to know these 3 things, and I'm going to actually ask for additional data points. And so you as an organization get to define what that process is. If I go back in and I change my estimated budget back to $24,999, you'll notice that my high value opportunity has now gone away. Okay? So it becomes an easy way to take this very linear process that was available before and really make it kind of fit the flavor of your business and allow us to take different paths depending on different information we get throughout a sales process or even a customer service life cycle. And similar to the calculated roll-up fields, you have the ability to edit these very easily. As I open up my edit process toolbar, I simply want to show you this real quickly because it's going to kind of be the same look and feel. There's no if-then coding, it's no writing any information. It's simply defining what the rules are around this. So at the end of my qualify stage, if my budget amount is greater than or equal to $25,000, I want it to add another stage name with these 3 data sets. Okay? And so you as an organization get to define that. Traditionally, that is an admin role. It's not something that everybody in the organization will do. Obviously, you'll have thousands and thousands of processes depending on how many sales reps or service folks you have. But this becomes a configuration tool for the organization, not a heavy customization need that would be a requirement. Okay? So that's a great piece of the application. As we stay here in the opportunity, another area we wanted to kind of talk about was also the concept of product families. So in the past, quoting in CRM, being able to tie products into CRM was okay. You have the ability to take a sales opportunity such as the one we're looking at here from an Armanino product line, and as I scroll down on my pane, I have the ability to tie products to it. Product A, product B, product C, whatever it may be. And for organizations that sell widgets, or for organizations that sell, 1 or 2 different items, this may suffice. You've got an opportunity that has a low number of products, yet a high volume. In this case, I've got a product A with 250 units that I'm selling this organization. But for the other organizations who have maybe a little more of a complex set and really want to enable their sales staff or service groups with the ability to either upsell or provide additional information within the opportunity, that has always been a limitation up to this point. We'd have to bring in a sales configurator or a quote configurator or something a little more complex that would service the needs of what you're looking for as an organization. Well, one of the things now that's been added with 2015 is the concept of product families. So as I'm adding a product to the system here, I can go ahead and tie it to various suggestions within the application. So you'll see here that I have a suggestion hyperlink on the right-hand side here. So as I'm working through this opportunity and I speak to the customer and they say, hey, you know what, product A, it's really not what we're looking for. We tried it last time and it's just not going to be a good fit. It didn't either sell well or the quality wasn't good or whatever that may be. I have the ability to click on suggestions here and say, okay, well, you know what, if we want to look at a substitute, hey, you know what, Mr. Consumer, you may want to consider product C. Here's information about it, and we can take that and add it. If we want to upsell the individual, we can say, hey, you know what, last time you bought product A, you know what, for only $5 more per unit, you could get product B, and here's all the great things that come along with it, so you can do some upselling there. Or you can even tie to it things such as accessories. So these are common things that someone will buy. Hey, you know what, I'd like to buy a door from you. Okay, great. Would you like the hinges and the door handle that will be needed to mount and open that door? Okay, great. Those are add-ons that we can go ahead and pick and add to the application here. So it becomes a very powerful way for us to define what product or product family an individual is looking for and go ahead and pick that as, in this particular case, pick product A as an add-on and have the system itself simply go in and add that particular application there. So as I go suggestions, I'll go ahead and hit accessories. We'll pick that, and I need to hit add to list, not close. It's going to add it to the list there. And now I've got two different items. I got product A, and I got the product A add-on. And I'll go ahead and say, hey, since they bought 250 of that, they need to buy probably 250 of those, which ultimately changes the value of my, in this case, my sales opportunity. And this can be done at the opportunity level. It can be done at the order level. It can be done at the quoting level, depending on how you guys want to use the CRM application and whether you're focused on sales quotes or opportunities quotes or orders. This type of product family and product engagement can be done across the board for you. Okay. So that was kind of focused around sales opportunities. We've talked a little bit about social insights and seeing that information. We've talked a little bit about kind of this process flow here that we see here in an opportunity level. And as Scott mentioned early on, that can also be contributed, and as we start to look at customer service cases, for example, we may want to have certain types of tickets that come into our organization routed to different people, or at various stages that they need to go into. And then we also kind of looked at the concept of these product line items and these product families, where we now can look at related kind of products there within the CRM application. I'm going to back out now, though, because I wanted to talk a little bit also about another function that isn't necessarily opportunity-based in CRM, but is really more around service. As Scott mentioned in his PowerPoint, there's been a lot of work going into the service side of the CRM application via certain acquisitions that have been made of an organization named Parature, who we'll start to see more and more of as we go down the line. But one of the things that Microsoft heard loud and clear from organizations was the ability to incorporate into CRM the concept of SLAs, or service level agreements. Being able to use CRM as a case management application is great, okay? And I can see here on the right-hand side at the bottom a list of all of my recent cases that I have, whether they're active or resolved. But oftentimes from a customer service world, we'll open a case and it'll get lost. We won't know how long we have to respond to it. If your organization has different types of service level agreements, maybe a customer can buy a gold, silver, or a bronze package, and each one of those provides a different response time, provides a different level of service or type of response. It never really captured those and had a difficult time kind of tracking that information. Yeah. Well, that's now what these SLA enhancements allow us to do. And for the sake of today, I'm actually going to create a new case for us kind of on the fly and show you what I mean by those. So I'm going to click on this plus button here for my recent cases, and I'm going to start to fill out information at the top of my form. And let's go ahead and simply call it product, since we looked at product A a little while ago, product A service issue. Okay. And I can begin to fill in information here with the case, what kind of issue. It's a service issue. Maybe I need to fill in case type, contact information. Maybe I want to start to fill out things such as, did it come in via phone? What product was it tied to? You know what? It actually was tied to that product A. So let's go ahead and set up that particular relationship right now. Go ahead and do this. There we go. We're going to change our case type from question to problem, and let's go ahead and just simply save it real quickly. Okay, so this begins the kind of the case or the ticket, if you will, kind of process here, and you'll see that it popped down to a list of my active cases here. Okay, well now as that particular case gets assigned to somebody in the organization, maybe it hits the triage group or kind of whoever's on the front line filling out that information, there's going to be some additional data points they're going to want to be able to capture. So as I open up this case, I'm going to see some information that looks familiar to you, kind of that business process flow here at the top, where we can again have the branching logic if we wish. Okay, we have activity information, summary information, customer information, all here within a screenshot. You'll also notice that we have in the upper right-hand portion a section called SLA information. Now right now it's blank. We don't have any SLA information tied to this particular case, because we don't know what contract this organization has purchased from us. Okay? So what we can do is we have the ability to actually add contracts in here. So this service contract was from Armanino. Now this can default to be the service contract. Look, every case that gets opened from Armanino, we simply want it to default to this particular service contract. They may have multiple different contracts, and you may want your organization to select which one they're going to be using as part of this case, which will dictate perhaps response times or resolution times for you. But in any case, I'm going to select this service contract for Armanino. Now one thing that's going to happen is when I hit this save button, and it would have saved automatically for me, but for the sake of today I'm going to kind of move things along, you'll see that as we move through the process, my SLA information has all of a sudden appeared. So now what it's doing is it's actually counting down in this particular scenario the time remaining that I have to get a first response back to this particular organization. So what it's doing is it's looking at this service contract, it's determining what level of SLA is tied to that contract, and then whether it's a resolution, whether it's a promised resolution, a promised response time, whatever that may be, it's now starting to count down that information here. Once it gets to a certain level, maybe you can dictate it to be, once it's 5 minutes from maybe being outside of our SLA, what our promised response was, it can either bubble up and send somebody a notification, or it maybe bumps to the top of a list of my service inquiries. You guys can dictate exactly what happens, but now the system here is counting down the time in this particular case that this particular contract is promising a response time to this customer here. So I think we're going to see some additional enhancements from this from an SLA perspective, but this becomes a great tool to have kind of that timer available to us and essentially allow us to see, okay, you know what, if we have gone past our expired or our allotted 58 minutes and 59 seconds, whatever it was, how far past are we? Are we 2 hours past? Are we 1 hour past? Or are we 3 days past? Because we're so far behind on things, and now we can start to report on, how much time was left when we were resolving our cases, how many actually expired versus how many didn't expire. And so now we can get a better understanding of how our service department may be responding to these particular cases or tickets. Okay. Another component I wanted to talk to you about and kind of give you a sneak peek into here real quick was also around mobility. So mobile becomes a more important topic every time I talk to somebody. A couple of years ago it was one out of 5 people would want to talk mobile. Nowadays, it becomes almost every organization who I speak with this about CRM has a question about mobility. In past versions of CRM, there have been mobile applications which have been released, which have offered kind of a canned accessibility to certain data points within CRM. But now what's happened is Microsoft has made available a new mobile application, and I'm simply showing it to you on my screen here right now. Now, many of you will access this via an iPad. Some of you will access it via a Surface device. Others of you will access it through an iPhone or something smaller, which obviously changes the real estate. But the look and feel becomes very similar. And now the big thing about mobility is that anything we're seeing from a on-prem or from a traditional web client experience, we can now receive from a mobile experience. We're not limited to the types of dashboards we want to see. I can go ahead and click within the application here and choose to see other dashboards that we may have within the application. I'm not tied to one or two which are specifically focused on mobile. I have the ability to look at accounts, activities, contacts, all information that we were looking at previously, all within just a couple clicks of a button here and swipes of my finger. So it becomes a very easy way to be able to take any information that we're pulling from a traditional CRM mobile or traditional CRM web experience and pull up into a mobile organization here. I'm going to click on my accounts here and have the grid pull up a list of my account names. I can do my sorting. Again, you can see Armanino, who I was just working on a moment ago. I can sort through these. I can look at the different types of list views. But really the goal is to create the same mobile same efficiencies you're getting via the web client, you now can actually start to get via the Outlook or via the mobile client here as well. Okay. Things also such as, let's go ahead and look at our Armanino product line, for example, here. And you will notice that as I go through my Armanino product line here and I put in my budget information, with any demo we get a little bit of an error, but that's okay. As we get in our demo information and I change my estimated budget to 25 grand, we'll see here that as we make the modification, should update our high value opportunity here. Now just give me an error ago, so it may give you a little bit of an issue. But the goal is that we're really trying to drive home not a limited user interface, but a full interface of all things opportunity-based within a mobile application here as well. And from a mobile perspective, whether you guys are using Apple devices, Windows devices, Android devices, it's device agnostic, and so now you have the ability to either be online or go offline if needed to be able to access your CRM data from a mobile environment, all of which is actually part of the licensing with Microsoft Dynamics CRM. Okay. The last two things I wanted to talk to you about real quick are a little bit outside the scope of your traditional CRM, but I think they're important at least to mention to everybody because I think they're going to have a huge impact on organizations in the next couple of years. One is Microsoft's move into the world of marketing. And when I say move, yes, there's a marketing module in CRM. You can manage campaigns, you can manage marketing lists, you can do traditional marketing aspects. But one of the things they've done is they've added what's called a Microsoft Dynamics Marketing Product, or MDM. I'm on a page, basically a test drive page here right now, that essentially introduces organizations to this product. And I encourage you to go out and take a look at this if you have a chance in the future, or reach out to us and we'd be happy to talk to you about it further. But for organizations who are looking for things like, look, I need a fully comprehensive marketing platform that will allow me to do one-to-one interactive email marketing, where I can send out emails, I can see when people open them, if they click on them, what my bounce back rate is, all that information. And based off of that, I'd like to be able to have the application do lead scoring, maybe pulling in lead information from the web. All sorts of more advanced marketing capabilities are now available through this Microsoft Dynamics marketing application here. And you can see here that I've got a quick little screen that shows a little bit about just some of the analytics that can pull from that. So for those of you who are maybe having really looking at things out there like your folks who are using our Constant Contacts of the world, or using the Eloquas of the world, or using any of those kind of more complex marketing applications, this is going to be something that can be rolled into your Dynamics application very easily, and is going to be part of the puzzle here moving forward. So I encourage you to kind of keep your ear to the floor or ear to the wall as it relates to Dynamics marketing, because you're going to see more and more about that here in the coming months and into the next year. The other one I wanted to mention as kind of a little bonus here today is social listening. Now, this is my absolute favorite thing that Microsoft has done in years. I'm a bit of a CRM geek, so maybe some of these things make me happy and I kind of get lost on others, but this is really neat. This is Microsoft's move into the world of social listening, being able to give organizations the ability to search for or listen for key topics, key phrases out there on the web, and be able to see kind of what's going on. So in this particular case, we've got a query out there on Office 365. And so the system is listening for when people are making posts about Office 365. It's being able to tell us, hey, you know what? Is it trending? Is it not? How many posts are coming in? Have we monitored how many posts per day? Things such as, where are people talking from a social perspective about this particular topic? For a lot of organizations, they're doing things like product awareness. They're going to release a new product to market, and they want to put a query into the system that will search for that particular product name to try to get an understanding of what people are talking about. Okay? And so when people are tweeting or posting to Facebook or putting on LinkedIn or putting on blog posts, this product is great, or I'd never buy this product again, we'd like to get an understanding of kind of what's going on, where people are talking about, what language they're talking about. This is one of the neatest things, is what's the sentiment. It aggregates through a number of different algorithms whether or not in this particular scenario that I have, people are talking good or bad about that product, or they're just indifferent. So imagine the red here would be a lot of people saying, hey, this product is horrible, I'd never buy it again type of a concept, versus people in green who are saying this product is the best thing since sliced bread. Okay? And so it allows me to see what kind of negative or positive impacts I may be seeing in the social media world directly from within this social listening tool. And the great thing about this tool is it ties so closely with my CRM application. Now what I can do is I can find those negative tweets, those negative posts, and I can actually start cases within CRM directly from those posts. Reach out to those individuals and say, hey, you know what, Mr. Whoever you are at what Twitter feed, I'm sorry you had this experience. Can I rectify it for you? Can we figure out what the issue is? And so for organizations and for individuals like me who may go to a restaurant, have a horrible, horrible experience and tweet, never go there, I'm never going there again, what a powerful tool for me to receive a tweet or a response back from an organization saying, hey, I saw your tweet online, I'm sorry you feel that way, is there anything we can do to make it up? So there's really some powerful things we can start to understand can happen with social listening, and that's all going to be tied into this social listening piece of the application. So those are a couple of things we wanted to walk you through today. Again, as Scott and Dee and I were kind of talking about today's session and what we wanted to present, I can talk for hours and hours and hours about everything that's new in CRM. But what I did want to do is at least pull out a couple of ones that I think were pertinent, that I thought were important. And as small as they may seem, things like global search within the application have a big impact. They make a very big difference. So hopefully you were able to see some of that today. I'm going to take an opportunity now to turn it back over to Scott and see if there were some perhaps questions in the queue that one of us could answer for you guys. And again, want to thank you for the opportunity to share this with you guys today.
All right, Joe. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. So if there are any questions, we've got a few that have come in. So if there's anybody that's got any additional questions, please feel free to type it into your chat window now, and we'll try and address those.
Yeah, and it looks like we had two that came in during the presentation. So I'll just start it off with those for right now. But the first one we had here was, when is the next major release of Dynamics CRM following 2015?
So, Joe, I'll take that one if you don't mind. So this is kind of a strategic direction that Microsoft has announced when they came out with CRM 2013, and it has continued, and I think they've done a really good job at staying on track with this. And so they've announced that every 18 to 24 months they're going to come out with a major release. And so almost exactly 24, 23 months to the release of CRM 2013, we announced 2015. But they also have minor releases about quarterly in between each of the major releases. So just about every quarter you can expect new capability coming out with the CRM Online.
Great. So the next one that we have was, do CRM Online and CRM On-Premise have the same features released at the same time?
Sure. Okay. So features coming out at the same time, CRM Online versus On-Premise, is that along with that same direction in terms of releases, everything will come out with new features on CRM Online first, and then about 6 months later, a roll-up or a release for CRM On-Premise will be announced and come. So there is about a 4 to 6 month lag between what we see on Dynamics CRM Online versus On-Premise.
Okay, great. And then it looks like we had one more. Just
question here, Dee. It says, is the Insights feature available to on-premise versions of CRM 2015? That's a great, great question. The answer to that is Insights is not included with CRM on-premise. However, you can purchase the same, in fact, a little bit more enhanced capability of Insights through the Microsoft partner that provides that data. That company is Inside View, and it works very much the same. It's fully integrated. It has the same data sets, the ability to sync and manage connections, but it is not included in the on-premise feature. We do need to sell you that as an add-on to the CRM on-premise licenses. The next question, let me see if I can read that one. Jill, this one might be for you. It says, is the visual hierarchy feature dependent on manual maintenance of accounts, or is there an automatic way to maintain that visual hierarchy feature?
Yeah, so the visual hierarchy is dependent on the maintenance to the accounts to a certain degree. Meaning, if you remember when you saw my screen of Armanino tied to those 3 child accounts, as soon as someone goes in and connects perhaps a new child account to Armanino, that particular grid will automatically be added. That particular hierarchy, visual hierarchy, will automatically be changed. So we don't have to keep refreshing that. If we removed, for example, Alpine Ski House, they sold off that particular organization and are no longer kind of the corporate, they're no longer under the Armanino corporate umbrella. When we go ahead within CRM and remove them as a parent account, it will update that visual hierarchy. So it is dependent to a degree on what people are putting into the system and the different relationships that are associated. As I said also, though, with future versions, you're going to start seeing the ability to start breaking those chains or creating new relationships directly in that hierarchy itself. So you'll be able to right-click on a line that connects Alpine Ski House and Armanino, and right-click and say disassociate, if you will, which will essentially break that parent-child relationship. So it is to a degree, and I think you're going to see some additional functionality come over that over the course of the next couple of releases.
So, Dee, I think...
Great, fantastic questions there. Yeah. Well, that wraps up our Q&A session. So if you guys have any additional specific questions that come up after seeing their contact information, webinar, there's a short survey. If you could just take a moment and please let us know how we're doing, we'd really appreciate it. So thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar, and we hope you have a fantastic day.